Boggers.
Froggers.
Joggers.
But anyway,
Sloggers.
all hell is breaking loose here, even without taking pioneers into
Moggers.
account. Murderers. Dozens of people disappearing without a trace. That ought to be our top priority now.
I looked closely at Masha. I wonder how she can keep such a cool head under these circumstances. Sure, I'm also trying to keep calm, but...
That means
What?
let's leave this issue for later.
But at least a wild guess?
I guess it's somehow connected to the disappearances. It's safe to assume that one, or even two or three, humans can deal with so many people at once.
Agreed.
It might be that this phenomenon somehow affected them.
Might be.
Anyway, it's easier to believe in that than, for example, that we're all in a parallel reality or something.
You know, by now, I'm willing to believe in anything.
You and me both, baby.
Then let's stick to this theory for now.
Okay.
Let's go?
You go ahead. I'll be back in a minute.
It's dangerous to be all alone.
Here, take this.
Seriously, what's so dangerous? Broad daylight and everyone's around here.
Okay.
No argument there.
Yeah, very weird. She gave me a faint smile and headed back to the canteen. But still, her behavior was also quite odd. Looks like the last few days changed everything and everyone, including Masha. Yesterday, shock, fear, and trembling. Today, cold and sensible reasoning. Damn, she's even more self-assured than me. Could it just be a good sleep? No, there's something wrong with her, too. Sure, she doesn't think that she's a pioneer like everyone else does, but still. If something has happened to them, then maybe it also happened to me. No! Probably not. Everything seems to be fine. I've double-checked my body and found no abnormalities. Okay, I have to keep calm and control myself. I got up and was about to return to the canteen when suddenly I heard a tiny voice from behind my back, as if somebody was calling for me. I got down from the porch and took a few steps towards the voice. Somebody was peering at me from behind a tree.
What?
Why did it become horrifying? That doesn't even make sense. It was Ulyana.
Broad daylight, my asshole.
And everything just turns black. It was Ulyana. No, not Ulyana, but something that looked like her. I froze in my tracks. Half of her face was torn and hanging down in shreds. No, it's not. Her
It's censored for us. That's why it's all black around there.
You might be right, honestly.
Yeah.
Her grinning jaw trembled nervously as if in laughter. A bloodshot eye, how can you see her? Hanging half out of its socket, suddenly swiveled its pupil to look at me. Yo, what's up? I stopped breathing and then died. I felt like I was gonna die right now due to shock. I forgot the voice.
Yeah.
Samian! The thing that seemed to be Ulyana was calling for me. My legs began to give out. I tried hard not to collapse, tried to scream, tried to run away. But my consciousness had already left a body that now was just a rag doll, moving by the will of an invisible puppet master. One more second and...
Hey!
I instinctively turned towards the word, caught sight of Masha standing on the porch, and then instantly looked back to Ulyana, but she was gone. Masha seemed to notice the deathly pallor upon my face and jumped over to me in the blink of an eye.
What? What happened?
I just saw Ulyana. There.
I pointed my finger towards the tree. Sure, the sight of the butchered Slavia was indeed gruesome, but at least she was dead, and now walking around in broad daylight with her face torn apart. She wasn't calling me by name, even if that name wasn't my own. The last ounces of my strength deserted me, and I collapsed to my knees.
What? Where?
Masha was shaking me by the shoulders.
It wasn't her. That was... I don't know.
Get a hold of yourself.
Ah!
Round arm slap.
I felt a round arm slap his me.
It's me.
I felt a round arm slap his me in the face and gave Masha a questioning look. My cheek burned, but I slowly started to regain my composure.
Ulyana was there, with her face. Basically, it was a zombie. Yeah, zombie Ulyana. That's the most rational explanation I could give.
Masha looked at me dumbfounded.
Anything can happen here.
If you'd seen her yourself,
Thank God I didn't. Come on, I'll get you some water.
it's actually just like Left 4 Dead 3. That's what we're playing right now.
Except we don't get to play, we get to watch people play.
Yeah.
And it's only in single frames.
Yeah.
I described my
Also, it's the same levels over and over again.
yeah, it's just this level. And Ulyana's the only thing we get to shoot.
Cool.
It's just a billion Ulyanas.
It's like Cookie Clicker, but Ulyana zombie killers.
I described my encounter with that creature in detail to everyone.
I can tell you one thing, science can't explain whatever's going on here at the moment. Science? It's outrageous devilry happening here. The hand of Satan. I wish we had a church nearby to light a candle.
Elena said nothing, resorted to quiet sobbing. I'd almost completely recovered and I was able to think straight.
Now it's perfectly clear that we have to get out of here.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, I'm not a real scientist, let alone a paranormalist, but if I recall it correctly, all these demons and spirits are bound to a certain place. Therefore, if we get away from this place...
Now that's an excellent solution.
And that's an appropriate smile.
Unless you're being sarcastic.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, yes,
Masha grinned skeptically.
I agree.
I exclaimed, ignoring her.
Yeah.
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 Lana just gave a barely noticeable nod.
So, it's all settled.
I slammed my fist on the table and surged to my feet.
Hold on, it's not like we all agreed on that.
Why would we hesitate? I seriously wouldn't want to waste a second encounter with a thing like that.
Where will we go? Do you even realize how long it will take to reach the city on foot?
Damn it, do you really think that nobody ever rides that road? A car, a bus, whatever. We'll get something eventually. I wouldn't be so sure. So you think that it's better to stay here? Well, I didn't say that. It's scary here, especially at night.
Lana whispered quietly. How do you
That
know?
still doesn't mean that we have to go anywhere.
Said Masha aloud. I gave her a narrow look. No, something has surely changed in her. Perhaps I should have a gentle talk with her about it. Or perhaps I shouldn't. Maybe she's also...
Also, what?
a zombie!
She got bitten by the zombie. Okay, let's take a vote.
I said that in a quite confident tone, yet still had my doubts. What if Masha's right? Perhaps we shouldn't be running around aimlessly.
It's not aimlessly, you're heading for the city.
Yeah, just bring some food and water, idiot.
Yeah, and the tent.
Tentacles.
Bring the tentacles. Yeah.
Sorry. On the one hand, I have no idea what awaits us beyond the gates of this camp. On the other, it's really all hell breaking loose here.
Okay.
She shrugged. And still, I won't stand for another minute here.
Leaving.
Staying.
Let's try it. Maybe we'll indeed get lucky and catch a ride. Leaving.
Everyone turned their eyes towards Lana.
I don't want to stay here.
Seems like my decision wasn't going to affect the outcome anyway. So let's get going.
Well,
I sprang to my feet. Everyone else remained seated with their heads down.
since we decided...
Well, since we decided.
Masha got up slowly and looked at me.
What about our stuff?
Asked Eliza awkwardly.
Do you really think that we should care now?
Mumbled Router gloomily.
Well, you're probably right.
Well, in my case, my stuff has already vanished somewhere. In a few minutes, we were standing at the bus stop.
The city is that way.
Masha gestured at the horizon.
Oh, is there the day before yesterday?
I grinned.
Yeah, that way.
I guess that was a joke. Rudder confirmed. It was a joke. We paused in silence for a few moments and then slowly headed off towards our destination. Why is it not picturing Lena? Interesting.
She's standing behind us.
With a knife.
With that grin of hers.
The summer sun was unbearably scorching, making the asphalt melt. It doesn't look like
Okay,
asphalt.
exaggerating a little there.
Everything a few hundred feet away, the road, the trees, the sky, the grass, in that order, was melting in a bright heat haze that looked more like a burning fog. I was streaming with sweat, and this guy likes to exaggerate. I was starting to think that I was getting sunstroke. Sure, it would have been a great idea to bring more water with us, but back when we were setting only thing we could think of was getting our asses as far as possible from that damned camp.
I think they meant when we were setting off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, I felt like I was about to lose consciousness. Only the wretched trills of the grasshoppers kept me in touch with
Guy and his
reality.
grasshoppers.
I know.
His buses and his grasshoppers. I get it. They make chirping noises.
Of course. This hellish noon is indeed their favorite part of the day. So old Semyon
He's
knew
like
about
an
buses.
old man. It's like, damn grasshoppers, get the fuck off my lawn.
I'm trying to sleep. I'm retired. They couldn't care less about the scorching heat, zero humidity, or the lack of any kind of air movement. On the
Zero
contrary,
humidity is a good thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
what's he talking about?
you don't unless you like it raining or something.
Ugh.
Or at least we should have started this hike later, closer to the evening. Although wandering the unknown country road at night is hardly a good idea either. The sound of a stifled cry came from behind me. 100 feet away, Eliza was barely holding up Lena, keeping her from collapsing to the ground. I dashed up to them.
What's the matter? She's fainted.
Doesn't look like she's fainted. I helped to carry Lena to the roadside. There was at least some shade from a small grove.
And that concludes our hike.
Said Masha in a gloomy mood, sinking down to the grass.
I warned you.
Fine, but what does it change now?
We'd been traveling for at least a couple of hours, so thinking of heading back to the camp was pointless. Well, at least until the evening, when the heat will decrease a bit.
And we still haven't seen a single car.
I turned around and looked at Ezreal. He pulled off his shirt and began to wring the sweat out of it.
Let's go show that picture again.
Eliza was trying to revive Lena.
If that's sunstroke, stop!
She shouted at me. If that's indeed sunstroke, we've gotten ourselves in deep trouble. She won't make it anywhere. I walked towards the road, shielded my eyes from the sun with my hand, and stared into the distance. Nothing but the same asphalt thread leading beyond the horizon, with no signs of civilization, not zation, or any
That's
signs
how they
of human
that's
presence
how they
at all.
spell it in like the Europe side of the world sometimes.
Well, they're dumb.
Whatever.
It was like we're the only people left, not only in the camp, but in the whole Hoyld. Though if you think about it, think about what has happened before, it's not really a big surprise. I went back to the others and sat down on the log that apparently is there.
I guess we have to scout ahead.
I looked
Can I just say something?
Ezreal. Yeah.
They look like they're not like badasses, right? You know?
Yeah.
And they're walking, right?
Yeah.
Not carrying much of anything.
Nope.
Why are they getting sunstroke?
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's super warm.
I don't know. Just flipping Russia, though. I mean, I get there's some southern parts of Russia, but like, damn.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how warm it's gonna
Also,
be.
just flip and walk on the nice looking grassy bits, and not on the asphalt, so it's not as warm.
Yeah, I know, because that's gonna be, like, awful.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna radiate.
Yeah.
These
A
people
lot of
are dumb.
options here. What? Oh. To check what's ahead, maybe we could find something, and you just stay here for a while. But you can't go anywhere right now anyway.
Lena was lying with her eyes closed and gasping for air. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, said Masha calmly. It just occurred to me that I'd planned to have a talk with her. It was definitely not the time for that now.
Let's go.
Israel shrugged his shoulders and followed me. We're the men.
I don't have a shirt on. I wringed out the sweat. Whatever.
We kept walking for about 15 minutes. The girls were left far behind.
I'm gonna get a wicked sunburn. uh, what do you think? Any chance of us meeting somebody?
He asked quietly.
I don't know.
I replied in an annoyed tone. I really wanted to refrain from talking now. The endless field stretched to the horizon, sparsely sprinkled with patches of trees and hills. The landscape looked so typical and tranquil that, in fact, it caused anxiety. If we'd found ourselves in the plains of hell, at least we would expect to be attacked from just anywhere, so we could brace ourselves and prepare for the worst. Now we felt just like little droplets of paint on the canvas of a nameless painter who paints the summer in central Russia.
Breaking the fourth wall much?
Or wherever we are now. All this only made our fear stronger.
Look.
Yelled Azriel. I narrowed my eyes and saw that the road took a turn.
So, what's so special? There must be something there. What makes you think that? Well, since there's a turn, we've been walking straight forward all the time, and now... Okay, let's go and take a look. No!
How does that even happen?
No!
No!
It can't be!
Kobe Hawk.
Damn it!
Bacana!
It says Sylvia Nook, by the way.
I like Kobe Hawk.
It says Sylvia Nook, okay?
Kobe Hawk. In few minutes we finally came to the gates of Sylvianok Pioneer Camp. I collapsed down the curb and buried my face in my hands.
The curb. That's what it said. Spelled with K.
I didn't feel scared. In fact, I didn't feel any emotions at all. Just the fatigue and the void inside of me.
But, how?
Moonbold Ezreal.
No idea. Besides, what's the difference anyway? It's not like this is any stranger than anything else that's happened to me in the last few days.
I looked up at him, feeling exhausted. Rada's lips were trembling. An expression of deathly horror was plastered on his face.
Let's go back and fetch the girls.
I didn't wait for him and just shuffled off back to where we left them.
Found anything?
Asked Masha, chewing on some strawberries with uncertain origin.
We did. A camp.
What camp?
She looked surprised.
Our camp.
What? Honey?
Masha looked so silly now, so I couldn't help flashing an ironic smile.
But you were going forward, not backward. Upwards, not
But
down.
either way, you're not gonna be at Sylvia Nook.
Yeah.
Unless you went forward and then backwards.
It's because the world is tiny, dude.
Yeah. We generated a small world, you know? It's bound to
Yeah,
happen.
this is Terraria.
Forward, and Sylvia Nook is there.
Hey, stop joking.
She exclaimed.
I'm dead serious. But
Said Eliza, quietly. She was sitting down in the grass and cradling the head of Lena, who was still sleeping.
yeah, just like that.
I said tiredly and dropped down to the ground.
Okay, it means we're heading there.
I looked at Masha keenly and suddenly realized that I can't wait anymore.
Hey, what's happening with you?
What do you mean?
Her look screamed that now isn't the time for breezy chatter.
You were scared to death yesterday, yet today you have this happens to me all the time attitude.
But what's the point in panicking?
She cracked a barely visible smile.
If I didn't know you...
I went quiet, bit my lip, and turned away. But really, do I know her that well? Sure, we spent so many years together, but if you get down to it, I always thought more about myself. Or rather, I always believed that she was completely satisfied.
She was satisfied, alright. Yeah,
That's why she came crawling back.
She was always the same to me. Same at just about anything, even when we were breaking up. As if she wasn't a real person, just my favorite article of clothing. Okay. You can't say that, man.
I like to wear that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not a-okay, buddy. That's a bad relationship. Thinking about it, I have no idea what's going on in her soul. I just never cared about it. Okay.
That's
Thus,
good.
her behaving like this under the circumstances doesn't seem more bizarre than anything else that's happening to us. And if you think about it, that talk at the beach 2 evenings ago, she probably really is stronger than me.
Oh yeah, arm wrestle, bitch. Come on,
Let's
let's
go.
go.
Hey, are you even listening to me at all?
Oh, sorry, I get carried away. So much has happened.
She looked at me sternly.
Let's get going to the camp, or wherever you were, if that is the same old camp.
Alright.
In fact, it's not like we had any other choice. A few more hours in this scorching heat would only yield more casualties.
But we have to carry her along.
Yes, just a sec. Let me figure it out.
I found 2 fairly long and sturdy sticks in the nearby grove. Coming back, I ordered Router to take off his shirt. Yes.
Again?
He tried to object, but soon enough he realized that there was no use in arguing. I took off my shirt as well, and we made a sort of stretcher, attaching the fabric to the poles.
Will it hold?
Masha gave our device a questioning look, but ultimately gave it a few strong pulls, ensuring its strength, and smiled.
It will, my favorite article of clothing. At least until we reach the camp.
It was hard to go in this heat, but even harder to carry the injured, that is, Elena. Several times I almost fainted and barely caught myself halfway to the ground. Router felt even worse. Both Masha and Eliza were swapping places with him every now and then. Still, my pride won't allow me to ask them to carry Elena even for a minute. Sure, it's silly to act like this under these circumstances, but I couldn't help myself. This is yet another flaw in my personality, along with the coldness, inattentiveness to others, even my loved ones, and other less than noble traits. Finally, we somehow made it to the camp gates, and I collapsed to the grass in the shadow of the unknown pioneer statue, completely worn out.
It is actually our camp.
Masha lingered on the words.
And indeed, it looks the same.
We have to carry her into a cabin.
Eliza mentioned quietly.
Yeah.
I got up with considerable effort and prepared for the last run. The obvious choice was Olga Dmitrievna's cabin.
Why?
I don't know, we're already here.
I don't know.
Most likely because we managed to come through the last night here without major problems. At least we were, still alive. Me and Router were sprawled exhausted on one bed, and the girls were undressing Lena on the other,
Don't look.
said Masha sternly.
It's not. It's not like there's anything worth looking at.
Wow, I just roasted our tatas.
Damn.
Not cool, bro.
This
I
guy.
don't know about Semyon, but I thought there was something worth looking at.
I snorted and turned away, giving Router a harsh poke in the ribs, making him follow my lead.
We're going to get some water, and probably rummage through the canteen too.
It's dangerous to go alone.
Here, take this. I already made that joke.
Want to come along?
She grinned.
No thanks. At least take that pipe with you.
I said uncertainly.
Do you really think it will help?
I sighed heavily and closed my eyes. They have some animate, I don't know what you call them, pictures that they use like
Emotions?
once. Yeah. Like this one, never seen it before. This is the only
Yeah,
time.
they use a lot of the same ones over and over again, but they also make brand new ones for not very much time.
I don't know why they don't just
Screen
interchange
time.
them. But whoa.
Well, be careful then.
The door closed after a second.
You asleep?
Rhoda's whisper reached me.
As if one could sleep here.
All at once, I heard Lena moan from the other bed. Sorry. I sat up on my elbows and looked at her. Lena was
Not
tossing
much
and
looking
turning.
at anyway. Yeah.
Tiny tits, and turned under the blanket. Suddenly she opened her eyes and abruptly turned to face me. Oh no.
Oh.
She's not naked.
Yeah, alright.
It's your time. A devil's grin was frozen on her face. The same one I saw yesterday evening.
Hot enough for you, eh?
She burst into laughter. I felt a shiver run down my spine and my ability to speak vanished.
You. What?
Asked Router through his sleep. I turned to him sharply.
Look!
I waved my hands, pointing at Lena's bed.
What?
He got up and looked where I was pointing first, then back at me. I turned and just saw Lena sleeping peacefully.
Didn't you hear it? What?
Her. Lena was awake and said,
Oh, it seems like you've got sunstroke too.
He turned towards the wall, but I'm absolutely sure that I heard and saw. Well, it could be true that the heat got to me at last, but it all seems to be exactly like that time, and it wasn't Lena. At the very least, it's not the Lena I knew, as if she's possessed by the devil. I lay down and pulled a blanket over my head.